Yahoo Fantasy Auto Racing Week 22 in the Tucson Racing Group. This is your recap following the hell of a good sour cream dips at the Glen from Watkins Glen, New York at the road course. Your race results for the weekend on Sunday. Juan Montoya picked up the victory, first win since 2007 for Montoya, and Montoya now has 2 career victories, one on each of the 2 NASCAR road courses. Following him in line was Kurt Busch in second, Marcos Ambrose in third, A.J. Allmendinger in fourth, and Carl Edwards rounded out the top 5. In the point standings, Kevin Harvick is still first in the overall points. Jeff Gordon, 185 points back in second. Then you've got Jeff Burton third, Kurt Busch fourth, and Jimmy Johnson in 5th. We're also keeping a close eye on the race for 12th. As you all know, the top 12 make the playoffs in NASCAR. So where does everybody stand around that 12th place bubble? Greg Biffle, 11th in the standings, 112 points up on 13th place. So very good right now, 11th in the standings. But 12th is a very tight battle. Just 10 points separates Mark Martin, who sits 12th, and that last playoff spot with Clint Boyer, who sits 13th, just 10 points outside the 12 position cutoff. And then Ryan Newman sits 14th, 83 points out, still within striking distance with just 4 races to go in the regular season. Your race notes from this weekend's race: Carl Edwards won the pole, his first career road course pole. In the actual race itself, Edwards was very good, wound up coming home in 5th, as we mentioned. Clint Boyer was probably the biggest story of the day. Boyer had some serious troubles with the mechanics on the car, had to go behind the wall, was able to actually make up a couple of those laps, almost got back to the lead lap, but didn't get the final caution he needed to get back on the lead lap. So he wound up finishing a very disappointing, he was way back in the 30s. Let me double check the stats here. It looks like Boyer came home 32nd, sorry. So Clint Boyer, very disappointing finish, winds up dropping him outside the top 12 and moving Mark Martin, who had a lackluster performance at Watkins Glen, back into the top 12. Some of the other stories: Montoya versus Ambrose. This race was really between these 2 drivers all day long. Excellent racing between these 2, some bumper-to-bumper battling, beating and banging a little bit on a road course, which you don't always get to see. These 2 were the class of the field all day, and it showed. Also, though, Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin wound up in the same wreck in this race. The 2 winningest drivers this season took each other out in a wreck. Both wound up with some serious troubles and finished way back in the field when all was said and done. Also, another aggressive incident. This time, Tony Stewart lost his cool, took out Boris Said. These 2 drivers were both running in the top 10 at the time. Boris didn't give Tony enough room in Tony's eyes, so Tony went ahead and dumped Boris Said into the wall, ruining Boris Said's day driving in place of Brian Vickers in the '83 Red Bull car. In the Tucson Racing Group, 4th win of the year for Hulk Smash. Hulk Smash was the only team to crack 300 this week, took home 303 points, using Montoya, Ambrose, and Burton. Jeff Burton for top 10 finishes. Montoya first, Ambrose third, Jeff Burton 9th, all making up for Robbie Gordon's disappointing 36th place finish. Robbie Gordon was actually a top 15 car until he lost 3rd gear, and it was downhill from there. 2nd place this week, The Wall Always Wins, finishes 2nd by just 12 points. The only difference here between Hulk and The Wall was 1 driver. Hulk went with Jeff Burton for 9th place. The Wall Always Wins went with Martin Truex for 15th place. Otherwise, the same 3 drivers in the other slots. 3rd this week, High Wide and Handsome, tied with Greek Thunder. Both teams scored 260 points, 43 points out of 1st place. For High Wide and Handsome, used Marcus Ambrose in 3rd and Tony Stewart in 7th, and Kevin Harvick in 11th, but also had Boris Said in 38th after the unfortunate incident. At one point, though, all 4 drivers were running in the top 10, so a disappointing result after very good performance midway through the race. Greek Thunder got the 3rd place using Kyle Busch in Group A for 8th. He actually started 42nd and made his way to 8th on a road course. Very impressive. Had Jeff Burton in 9th, Paul Menard a mediocre 16th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. a very disappointing 26th. He was a non-factor all day. The road course was throwing him for a loop. But also Greek Thunder threw in 10 bonus points for Carl Edwards' pole. Rounding out the top 5 this week, Team Edwards with 257 points, 46 points out of first place, just 3 points out of third. Used Kurt Busch for second place, and A.J. Allmendinger the best in Group C with a fourth place finish, but had disappointing runs from Casey Kane in 17th and Joey Logano in 33rd. And then the absolute biggest bust of the week was sixth place Lightning McQueen. Just 124 points this week, had a very bad week. Finished 179 points off the pace this week. Casey Kane was the best driver on their squad, 17th for Kane. Had 30th or worse finishes from Denny Hamlin, 37th, Clint Boyer, 32nd, and Robbie Gordon, 36th. The only other team to score this week was Whoa, a left turn. Picked up 1 point for A.J. Allmendinger's qualifying performance. Oh No, a blowout, and Kane Rules both scored 0. In the overall standings, High, Wide, and Handsome holds a 268-point lead now on Lightning McQueen. Picked up a ton of points after Lightning McQueen's devastating finish this week. Now McQueen is second, just 100 points ahead of Hulk Smash, who sits 368 points out of first. Fourth right now is The Wall Always Wins, 421 points out of first place, just 53, though, out of third. Fifth right now is Team Edwards, the driver, 686 points back, only 21 points ahead of sixth place Greek Thunder, who sits 707 points out of the overall lead. Rounding out the field is Whoa, a left turn, over 2,000 points out. Blowout is 2,109 points out, and Kane Rules is almost 4,000 points behind the leader. Next week is week 23 action. Going to see the Carfax 400 from the Michigan International Speedway, the 2-mile racetrack. Your pool is going to lock on Friday at 2 a.m. Your starters are going to lock Sunday at approximately 10:11 a.m. So we'll hope to see you back next week for week 23 action in the Tucson Racing Group. Until then, we'll see you later.